Okay, so hey you guys, so today we are gonna do dot map. Okay, so like we were talking about this dot map from quite a some time now, and the reason that I gave you dot map for your project is nothing but to make you all take a little bit of practice. Okay, so because there's no other alternative. Okay, I don't know when when we will be meeting. So there's no other alternative to do a practical than to give you it in a project. Okay, because this project is somehow going to come to me and I'll be checking it, and whether or not if you do it right, then it's better. If you still don't do it right, if you haven't understood it, then I'll know, right? So that was the only motive that I gave you. Okay, so that we have enough time for you to correct your mistake and learn it in a better way. Okay, so this was the only reason that I gave you dot map. And the other thing that I thought about was if the invigilator is gonna come, okay, for your inspection for to see your practicals of the projects, and if he finds out that you have done a dot map on your project, then maybe, okay, and not just maybe, but I'm talking about very surely that he's going to be impressed, right? Because you will have a lot of hard work in your project. Okay, so this is what our motive is. Okay, this is what our motive is for you getting a better marks. Okay. So then let's talk about dot map. Okay. So what is a dot map? A dot map is a representative map on a smaller scale than the actual figure on the real scale. Now this is nothing but just a definition. Okay. Now this explains nothing. Okay. So if the question comes, what is this dot map? This is the definition that you give. Okay. But what we understand from this, we understood nothing. Okay. So if you and me are talking and if you ask me what is a dot map, so in simple terms, a dot map is just something, a very easy representation of the data on your map. Okay. A very easy representation of the data on your map. Okay. So you have a data, let's say. Okay, now what is the data? I'll tell you. Okay, you have this kind of a data. Okay, very complex. Now here is the typical data that they give with this dot map. Okay, I hope I'm not being very fast. Okay. So here is the typical type of a data that they usually attach with the dot map. Okay, and what is the typical type of a data that they give? They write the state name. Okay, for here I have the subdivision name. Okay, so but forget it. Let's say they have UP, Bihar, Rajasthan, and all those. And at the side of that, they have the population. So they give the population of that place. Okay. Now, now you can't just write all these numbers on a map, can you? That's next to impossible, right? You just can't write that UP has around 19,995 persons and Bihar all this kind of numbers. It wouldn't be very. It wouldn't look nice, isn't it? Just check on a map. Like just check on a book. Do you have any map that shows the numbers on the images? It doesn't. Okay, so that's not how it works. So what do you have to do? You have to convert it into something. Okay, some figure. Okay, some drawing. Okay, so like we did in the choropleth map, we converted the data into lines, and in dot map we will convert it into dots. Okay, so that's the only difference. In the choropleth map, you took the data and you made lines out of it. Okay, in the dot map, you will take the data and you will make dots out of it. Okay, so that's the only thing that the dot map explains. Okay, so it's not very difficult, it's not very too hard, it's not a rocket science. You have a data and then you are changing those data into dots and you are making those dot on the map. Okay, so that is a dot map. So a dot map is given as representative image, drawing its scale and making it compactable yet understandable in a smaller given map. Okay. Now, what does the second point explain us? Now we already know that a dot map is nothing but a map filled with dots. Okay. Now, our second point tells us, okay, the second point tells us that the dots are not just useless. Okay, the dots are not just useless. We are not making any random number of dots in our map. Otherwise, it will be it won't be any use of, isn't it? Uh, so what do we do? How do we do? That means our dots are very calculated. Okay, our dots are very calculated. We calculate each dot and then we do it. Okay, I'll show you how in the next video. Okay, but just understand this. So just take for here, for example. If you just see here, I have written the district's name, okay, because this was the another map, and then I gave the population, and here I've written something like one dot represents 10,000 population, 10,000 people. So that means I'm making one dot, and that dot represents 10,000 people. Okay, and then I have how many number of dots I have to make, and then those number of dots I will draw it in the in the map. Okay, so this is how the picture is going to look. If a district has a lot of population, it will have lots of dots. If the district has less population, it will have fewer dots. So that when you just check on the map, okay, when you just turn off the book and when you see those images, you can understand that number 13 has a lot of population. Number, how much is this? 11 has a few population. Okay, so that you get that. Whenever you see a map, you don't have to struggle with it. Okay, you don't have to go through the data, and that is why we do our cartogram. That is why we do choropleth and dot maps. Okay, we do choropleth and dot map to suppose we are very lazy to look into the data. Okay, so that is one of the reason why we do all those cartograms. Okay, all the choropleth and the dot maps and all. Suppose we are very lazy and we don't want to look on the data and all, so we just turn around on our image, okay, we just turn around to this maps we have, and then we figure out, okay, UP has a lot of population, Bihar has a lot of population, Rajasthan has few, Jammu and Kashmir has few, okay, so that's our motive. Okay, so see, one dot represents 10,000% in the map. Okay, now how to do this, I'll show you in the next video. Okay, but this is just to make you all understand what is a dot map, or just a random first introduction, okay, to understand it. Okay, so for a better understanding, a dot map is a simple representation of data on the maps you have. Okay, so how do we represent the data on a map? On what form? On the form of a dot. Okay, we make a dot, a tiny dot. Okay, and then each dot we give it a value. Okay, like for example, let's say UP has around 1 lakh people, Bihar has around 50,000 people. So one dot will represent, let's say, 50,000. So in Bihar I'll make one dot, and in UP I'll make two dots. Okay, so each dot will have some value. Okay, so this is our motive why we do the map. To suppose we are very lazy, okay, and when we turn off the map, we don't have to look at the data. Just by looking at the image or the map, we will understand which place has a lots of population, which place has very few population. Clear with this? So till here, this is our introduction. Now after this video, I will do a next video and I'll try to show you how to make a dot map.